now?
Hi, we're back again. So those of you who didn't get our other introduction, this is our Sunday night satsang with myself, John Wood, and
Michelle McLean.
Michelle McLean. And the topic for tonight is, what does it mean to be human? And what I was explaining before the video went off is that we've been quite intrigued looking at a few things this weekend to see that AI is even taking over many of the creative endeavors that we have, for example, art and music. It's amazing. So we thought tonight we'd look at, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be human? Please let us know in the comment section if you can see and hear us. And we like to know who we're talking to, so please do type up your name, and if you're watching on YouTube, if you can.
Perfect. Oh, okay.
Right.
That's one of the parts of being human, is being able to hear each other.
Yeah.
So that's good. We don't know what happened because everything was fine.
And if you are watching on YouTube, just if you can subscribe to our channel, that helps get the word out, and also press the like and the share button. Thank you. So we're just going to wait for a few people to join because we lost quite a few people from the first one. So we're just going to wait for them to come back a little bit. Just wait a few moments. Let me just put my phone on silent. There we go.
Good, I think people are finding us again. Thanks very much, Emma, for letting us know.
Yeah.
And let us know who else we've got with us, if you don't mind.
Yeah. And if you have any questions or comments while we are in satsang tonight, please type them up. We don't always get to them while we are live, but we definitely get to you afterwards. But sometimes we do see them while we're live as well. So just do let us know. All right, just waiting for great. Okay, so now you can see and hear us. That's brilliant.
Thanks, Elaine. That's great.
Thank you for rejoining. Thank you for rejoining. Yeah. Just going to wait a few moments for more people to join.
Hello, Anka from Bucharest. Hi.
From
Welcome.
Romania. Goodness, welcome. Welcome.
We've got Move with Heal SA. I'm not sure who that is.
Sure, sure.
But sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Great.
Yeah. Let's wait for a few more people. So the satsang, the word satsang really just means a gathering of wisdom. So we're here just to share what we have learned on our journeys, and if you have any words of wisdom to add to what we share, then please type it up in the comments box as well, because this is an interactive sharing that we have here.
If we do drop off during the call, please just stay on the Facebook page and just look for us, and we'll come back again.
Yeah.
Because it is saying that there's slightly low signal.
Okay.
See, we're on. Yeah.
We get a hello. Who's that? M from Dorset, UK.
Hi, M.
Hello, Sonia.
Hi,
Sonia. Yeah. So we're on a farm in a rural area, and we get our signal from mountains far away over there. And at the moment there are clouds on the mountains, so it does drop the signal a little bit there. So if you just like to just bear with us, if we do drop out, we'll be back again on the same page, on Journeys of Awakening page. So we always start the satsangs by bringing ourselves into the only place that's really real, and that's the present moment. So let's just do that right now, shall we? Shall we just withdraw our mind from our stories, from the dramas of the day, and if you just think about what you'd really like in life, is peace not quite high up on the list of things that you would like? Is it not peace? Well, peace is available to us in the here and now if we are able to transcend our stories that we're telling ourselves. So we're going to spend a few moments now just practicing what it feels like to be delaminated, to be separate from the thinking mind for a few moments. We can pick up the mind with its stories and its worries and its regrets and its emotions in a moment, but let's just come into this moment and clear our minds. Shall we do that? Let's start out this evening by just becoming aware of everything in the room that you're sitting in right now. Just become aware of the objects in the room. So just look around the room and just see the things in the room. Have a look at the things. And obviously the first thing we do when we see a thing is we label it. We label it. But try and just look without labeling. Take a moment now to look at the background to the things wherever you are sitting or lying, the background. And now for a moment, become aware of the most valuable thing, that isn't a thing, in your room. And it is, in fact, the space. Because without the space, you couldn't have the things in the room. So just become aware of the space. And that's quite difficult in that you can't really identify it in a position, because it is there and it's there and it's everywhere. But just notice the space. And now notice what is noticing the space. So we have the outer space in the room, and then we have the inner space within us, the quiet emptiness that notices the space in the room. So we have inner space meeting outer space. And that's quite a reunion, because for most of the time we completely separate ourselves. There's the world out there and the world in here. But for a moment, from direct experience, I'd like you to just look at that the space that holds all the things in this room, including your body, is actually the same space that is witnessing this room. And in the recognition of that space, you find your true identity. And in finding the true identity, there is peace. So gently close your eyes for a moment and take a very deep breath in. And long breath out. Take another very deep breath in. And an even longer breath out. Take a third deep breath in, right down to your toes this time and up to the top of the head. And then breathe out. Let it go. Now with your eyes closed, just become aware once more of this space, this emptiness. This emptiness transcends any doingness, any achievement, positively or negatively in your life. It transcends the gender, the race, the age. It is just an isness. And just become aware of this, not as an idea in your head, but as a direct experience in this moment. You may like to define it by saying, I am. That's all. Just I am. And the I am that you are is awareness. So gradually our awareness is becoming aware of itself. And that is called self-awareness. Not aware of the body or aware of your surroundings, but aware of awareness itself. Take another deep breath in. And a slow, long out breath. And as you breathe out, just relax your shoulders, your neck muscles, smooth away any worry lines on your forehead. And just settle into the chair or the bed or the floor that you're sitting or lying on. And just feel a melting of your awareness into your surrounding space. And realize there is no separation between the inner and the outer. Space is just space. It's everywhere all at once. This is the eternal you. Space doesn't age. It's not born and it doesn't die. And it's a place of resting, a place of peace, And it's a place without boundaries, without walls, without separation. And one of the definitions of love is the felt sense of oneness. And as we melt into this space, possibly we start to feel this felt sense of oneness as our heart opens. And the boundaries of separation diminish in our awareness. We become one with life. Feel what it feels like to dissolve into the arms of life, right here, right now. Surrender completely to awareness of the isness of life in this moment. Now take another very deep, slow breath in, filling the whole body up, and then let it go, and gently, when you're ready, softly open your eyes and just look around the room. See if the room looks a bit different, a bit more friendly, a bit more soft. Thank you for all joining us tonight. Let us know in the comments section how you feel now. Do you feel a little bit less stressed? A little bit more peaceful? Let us know in the comments section. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, John.
Yeah, and as most of you know, Michelle is an astrologer, and she looks at the flows of energy coming through, and these flows of energy obviously affect our emotions and our thinking. So what's happening in the heavens? Anything of interest?
Well, I think there's big planetary alignments. You know, we've just had a new moon. We're heading towards a full moon. That sort of happens every month. But we've got quite big alignments this year. And I know a lot of you aren't astrologers, but astrology really is the study of energy, and it's energy patterns that we are all feeling into because we're all connected on an energetic level. And so there's a couple of really big influences that are working with us at the moment, and one of them is called a nodal shift. We have two nodes. The one is a north node and the one is a south node, and they're the nodes of destiny basically, and they shift every 18 months or so into different signs. So when they shift, there's an energetic focus that starts to happen, and the focus is very much about us connecting to something that is more real, and it's actually a nodal shift into the sign of Pisces, which is the sign which encompasses all that is. It's the sign which connects us. It's the ocean of awareness. So it's opposite the south node, which is our past, which is where we're coming from, in Virgo, which is very much mind oriented. So what the switch is and what the focus is coming into is that the more that we're in our minds at the moment, the more difficult it's actually going to be for us to navigate what we're navigating, because in addition to this, there are also like immense, huge, big shifts this year, such that we haven't seen in a very long time. And there's a lot of energy that's kind of coming in, that's quite intense and quite fast moving and unknown, because we're entering into a time, I think, as we're going to talk about tonight, with the advent and the development of AI, which is the unknown for us, because we've never experienced that in our lives. And so we're moving out of cycles and we're moving into cycles, and there's this shift in human consciousness which we've been talking about, and there's another dimension which is definitely the technological dimension, because obviously these patterns go around every 20 years, every 100 years, every 248 years, but this is the first time that we know of in our history that we're actually experiencing one of the big things, which is Pluto and Aquarius, which is about technology. So we were just talking this morning and chatting about how it's having an influence on the world, because it really is, and how do we deal with it, because it's a given that it's happening. It's not about to go away anytime soon. So how do we actually stay sane through it, and how do we use it? So how do we not resist it, but how do we stay human in the process? So that's really what I'm seeing. But the energies are quite intense right now. So.
And what does it mean to be human? I mean, that's the big one.
What does it mean?
And in the past we've I don't know if it's been reflected astrologically, but we've been very much caught up in mind. And let me check my astrological knowledge. Mind is Mercury. Is it? Right. I'm good on that. So we've been
the rational mind.
We've been very much caught up under that energy of the rational mind. And in fact, we have paid and rewarded people for rational thought. If you think in your education, you were rewarded in marks or whatever, according to your ability to be logical and sequential in your thinking process. So we've paid the professions who are focused on logical progression of information the most, actuaries and lawyers and things like that. And artists generally haven't been paid that much because they're not fitting into the world of manipulation, which is what the logical mind is all about. And so now we're going through a shift. And most of our lives we've been the number one most intelligent species on this planet, and yet recently we found that we're not. That in fact AI is more intelligent in that logical way than humans. And so you find that the professions that required purely on the logical processing of information will now be taken over by AI. And that's almost all of the academically trained professions. What I can't see AI doing at the moment is the plumbing and the bricklaying and the harvesting and the growing of food, etc. But all the academic stuff, the stuff we've trained for, even doctors will be and are being surpassed now by AI. And so the question comes, then where is my value? If it's not in my logical thinking mind, if it's not in my ability to process information in a logical, sequential way, then where is my value? And for most people, their whole sense of identity is based in the world of doing. And most people, in fact, only know themselves in terms of being a human doing. So tonight we thought we'd talk about what is it like and what is it really to be fully a human being. What does that mean? Because I think it's a question that we're going to have to face this year in depth. Otherwise, we're going to, I believe, suffer through the dissolution of the old sense of self, the old sense of identity. And later on this week, in fact on Thursday night, we're starting a 13-week course called Journey to Freedom. And one of the things that we look at in that 13-week journey is what is true freedom. And freedom ultimately is freedom from the mind, freedom from all the perceptions that the mind has had, all the expectations, all the regrets, all the hurt, to be free of past and to be free of the anxiety of future. That's true freedom. So really it is freedom from mind. So we thought we'd talk a bit about that tonight.
Yeah, the journey is basically, it's a 13-week journey because we get to practice the tools that take us into this place of presence so that we can actually deal with the changes that we're actually experiencing. It's not to say that the mind is something that you shouldn't have, because we have. Every single person on the planet has a mind, and it's very useful when it comes to pressing the buttons to get online for a Zoom call or a Facebook call or sending an email or doing our jobs. But when we live there and the mind is the master, that's where the suffering happens, because the mind will continue to take us into the past or future. And with the future being unknown, we need to find a place that is more present than that, so that we actually have a very steady base. Because what I'm feeling energetically is that it's a very fast-moving pace. It's like a very fast-spinning wheel, and every day there's something new, depending on whether you're actually sort of tuned in to what's going on in the world. If you're not, if you spend not a lot of time on the media, that's probably a good thing. But if you are, and you're aware of all the changes that are happening in the world on an ongoing basis, you can very easily spin out. So this year is one of probably the biggest years of change, and so this is quite an important, I think this journey to freedom is a very important one. We also have a free week called Vision Week, Vision 2025, because in order to actually navigate this year and every year to come, what is our vision? And it's a very different kind of vision to what we are accustomed to. So we're going to be experiencing that from this week. So from Thursday this week to Thursday next week, we'll be doing the free Vision Week, and after that we'll be doing the 13-week intense dive into the journey to freedom. And that is pretty life-changing. It's transformational because it teaches you tools, and you actually get to practice those tools. We go through different elements of exactly what we're talking about tonight, which is, what does it mean to be human? That's what we experience and explore in this journey. And I mean, one of the things that make us human is our human contact, our face-to-face, human-to-human, eye-to-eye contact. So for those of you who are joining us live, even though we're not in a room together, we are actually communicating in a kind of a personal way, even though it's not in the same space. So one of them is human contact. And how will that, we don't know what's going to be happening with the AI thing, but the one thing that we can maintain is the human contact. It's human affection, it's touch, it's looking into somebody's eyes, it's, reaching out to somebody and speaking with them. I think that even with the advent of things like WhatsApp and our communication tools, we used to pick up the phone and actually speak to somebody. And very, very, very few people do that. Most people text now or send a one-sided voice message. So it's just to realize how things have changed over the last, 5-10 years?
Yeah.
It never used to be the case. If you wanted to speak to someone, you picked up the phone and you spoke to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of technology we have today is a blessing. It does enable us to connect with anyone on this planet, basically, as long as they're on one of the messaging apps, we can connect with them. So it's really, really beautiful. But at the same time, because it's using technology, there is a bit of a disconnect in that. So that's part of the problem that we're facing right now, is do we go further and further into technology, or do we come back to humanity, to real human values and experiences? So that's something which we explore on the Journey to Freedom course. And as you mentioned earlier, and I said about freedom from the mind, and it's not that we get rid of the mind at all, but the problem with the mind for many hundreds, if not thousands of years, has been that the mind has dominated our awareness. In fact, most people have no identity other than a mind-based identity, and that mind-based identity is very threatened moment to moment by the world of external events and situations. For example, most people only know themselves in terms of the other, in terms of what people think and say about you. And that's a pretty difficult way to live your life, because people are very fickle, and one minute they admire you and the next minute they push you down. So that is one of the problems of only knowing yourself in terms of the mind. And as I said earlier, with AI coming along and maybe taking away a lot of people's vocations through AI being able to do it better, then who am I if I'm not a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist? No, dentist will still be.
I think dentists will still be needed.
Hopefully, yeah, that's right. But many of the teachers, for example, the AI can do all of that infinitely better. But the problem is then we have to find who we are outside of that mind, outside of the mind's ability to process information. And what we do on the journey to freedom is we start to make the mind a tool, but not our master. And it makes a wonderful tool, but a terrible master, tyrannical master, in fact. So the problems that most people have are not, in fact, problems in reality. They're problems in the mind. And most people are really concerned about what hasn't happened yet. So it's always about future. Worry is never really about what is. It's always about what might happen. And so the journey to freedom is really the liberation from those troublesome thoughts, from those worried ideas and stories that we hold within ourselves. And a lot of people say, I can't be happy because of what happened to me in my childhood, or what I did 10 years ago. And there's a complete fallacy. You can be at peace and you can be happy now if you learn to make your mind your servant rather than your master. So that's what we do in that. And the important part of all of this is finding a new you, letting the real essence of something transcendent more fully into our awareness, rather like a flower that blossoms and blooms and opens and something new is revealed. That's what's happening in our awareness. It's called the awakening. And so we look forward to you coming on that. But it's a very important time to do this work. It's not something that you can put off for any longer. It's really important that all of us learn to tame the mind, because the mind is the one tool of consciousness that is manipulated by the external world to a great extent. And it's now time to liberate ourselves from what we call the matrix.
And this isn't to scare people about the AI. It's just, it's to, if you aren't aware of it, to just bring it to the awareness, because this is about us finding a new vision for who we are as humans. And one of the biggest things is I think with the advent of more technology, and I mean, there's still going to be ways that we can work with AI in different careers. Doesn't mean that everything's going to end. It's going to change though. So how do we sort of operate in a world where a lot of it is technological? Well, one of the things, as I've just said, is connection. People remember you by how you make them feel, how they feel in your presence. They don't remember you necessarily for your cleverness or for all the things that you've achieved. So one of the things that we were speaking about earlier, John and I, was on the creative side. You know, you've got people that are musicians and visual artists, singers, dancers. It's the connection that people remember. And you connect with someone at the essence of who they are. So it's very important for us as human beings to really connect with our human beingness, because that is what's actually going to, I believe, bring us into a new way of being that we haven't experienced before. And the more that we can reconnect with that human beingness, and the more that we can connect with nature, the more we can connect with song, with sound, with music, with creativity. Those are the things that you cannot replicate. You cannot replicate a sunset. Doesn't matter how clever the AI is. Might look good, but you cannot replicate the 360-degree
Human experience
of a sunset, or a tree, or lying on the grass, or smelling the ocean, or the rain that's just fallen. And so I think our practice as we enter into this new area of life is to make those things even more important. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. And I'll just give an example. So last weekend we went to a live concert by a wonderful group of spiritual artists called Desert Rose. And they do the most beautiful chanting music. It really is absolutely divine. And when you're in their presence and you're interacting with that vibration coming from their hearts, it's truly transcendent. And it is so healing in the true sense of the word, to heal, to make whole again. In that moment, you really do feel yourself complete and whole. And if you look at the music that's available through Spotify or any one of these other platforms, it's the end result that we're listening to. It's not actually the process, the creative process. And experiencing, like for example, what we did last weekend was experiencing that creative process, to be fully involved with the life that's creating that, not with the end result. Now, we've been driven as human doings to only value the output, to only look at the end result. What is the end result, and how effective and how efficient is the end result? And that, I believe, is part of the massive transformation that's going to be happening this year with us, to find who and what we really are. And we're going to realize that it's not about the end result. For example, if you're painting a picture, the mind will always say, what's the end result going to be like? And now we start to realize that the real essence of human is the process. It was never to get to a destination. It's actually in the process of art, and that's the wonderful work that Michelle does with her process art workshops that she does. And we're going to find that as it's going to have to move up further in our list of values, is actually the process of life, rather than trying to get somewhere as a destination, which is what the left brain is all about.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, in art, in any kind of art, as you often cite, in a dance, if you're trying to get to the other side of the room, you're really not experiencing the dance much. The dance is being in the music, moving to the music, feeling that music going through you. And if we can, as human beings, be more present in the moment of what we're doing, whether we're cooking a meal, picking a flower, putting it in a vase, working in a vegetable garden, planting a plant, or making a creative process, whatever that is what's actually going to keep us human. And with AI, and I'm sure all of you are aware of this, our cell phones have kind of taken over. I mean, there's everything on that thing. You know, it's taken the place of what the clock, the camera, the notepad, your social diary, the many different functions.
The pile of records and CDs we used to have,
television, gone. They're gone. It's all on this phone. So that's fine. We all use them, but we can't let them use us. Or we can, but then we're going to become less human. So how do we use them? Because we do. You wouldn't be sitting watching this if you didn't have a device of some kind. So how do we use them but not let them use us? And I believe that your word there that you used, process, is really one of the answers. It's be in the process of life. Notice the sunrise, notice the sunset. Connect with human beings as much as you can. Not just texting people. Connect with people from the heart, because the one thing that can't be replaced is our heart connections. That will never, ever be replaced, and neither will nature. And I believe that the arts will continue because humans revel in creativity and art. So I think that the more that we can actually be creative, the more we can come up with our own stuff, because it's going to be very tempting to just ask AI how to do something. Want to write a book? Plug it into ChatGPT, and 5 minutes later you've got a book.
5 minutes?
1 minute.
Under 1 minute, you'll have a whole book written.
That's the way it is. But there are people still writing books.
Yeah.
Because why? Because they have a connection with their audience. And people, when they read that person's essence coming through in the book, they're reading that essence. We were watching that thing on Anastasia last night. That was so interesting. I don't know if any of you have heard of the Anastasia series.
Hopefully all of you have, and hopefully you read all the books.
Yeah.
I think there's 11 of them in the series, Anastasia.
And we were listening to the chap who actually translated them from Russian into English. And they were phenomenally successful. They just sort of took Russia by storm when they published them in Russia, and they realized that nobody in the Western world didn't know anything about them. But he said it was so interesting because people had tried to translate them, but they hadn't translated the nuance of Russian, because there are so many different ways of saying things, and it's very poetic. He says every word in Russian has an emotion, so you can't just verbatim kind of translate it, send it word by word.
Well, sorry to interrupt you. Just the first person who did the first translation,
Yeah,
she took a dictionary.
She took a dictionary.
An English-Russian dictionary, and
Yeah.
translated that way. And the
Yeah.
guy doing the translation, he said that the whole
It wasn't the
feeling was
book.
lost. It was absolutely nonsense
Yeah.
compared to that. Because, you know, English is
Yeah.
a very technical language.
Technical.
Very technical language.
Yeah.
Where most old languages, and you must understand the Russian language goes back thousands and thousands of years. So it's a very emotional language.
Yeah.
And that was lost in the technical transcribing of that,
Yeah.
translating of that.
Because once again,
Yeah.
we like to, when somebody is, when art, all creativity is evocative. It evokes something in you. If you walk into somewhere and you like a painting, it will evoke something in you. You'll either love the colors, it'll make you feel in a certain way, it'll bring back a memory, it'll create something. And that's the same as music, it's the same as dance, it's all the arts, food. It creates a feeling in us. That is what makes us human.
Yeah.
Not the technical expertise.
We have a whole week in the Journey to Freedom course called Feeling is Healing.
Yeah.
That's when we heal. And just as you were speaking there, thinking about, for example, the AI. Now, AI will seemingly do everything, and yet, and it'll even fake feelings, for example, but it'll never feel. It'll never have that sense of humanness. So a major part of being human is the feeling aspect of who and what we are. And if you go back, 100 years, for example, pretty based in Europe, it was about getting rid of feelings. If you think of the military, for example, getting rid of feelings. Education is getting rid of feelings. And yet now we're turning that corner. There's so many new schools coming up now, private independent schools and homeschooling, which is all about the child's feelings and honoring those feelings.
And what does the child love to do?
Correct.
Not just, I will put you into the same little boxes. It's what is this child good at? What does this child love? And I think that's another part of how we stay human.
So the one thing is feeling, and a very important part of feeling, which actually transcends feeling, is joy. And AI will never experience joy. And part of the very fabric of human life is joy, is bliss. And so that's something I believe that we need to honor more in our day-to-day living process. Not some future time, but today. As I'm busy washing the dishes, am I able to connect with what it's like to be fully human? Am I able to feel the joy of just this moment and the privilege of life in this moment? Because AI will never have life. It'll have pseudo-life. It looks like life. It sounds like life, but it isn't. So for example, what we were looking at music earlier and the creation of music, I mean, AI is already, I think they're saying AI music is already in the top 10% of
and movies now.
And movies are coming, but top 10% of the most listened music now is AI music, and yet it will never have in itself the direct experience of that creative process, and that is what being human is really about. It's about the journey of creation, not the actual outcome of it, and experiencing more and more joy in our lives. And I believe that the real essence of humans, so we've been separated out from nature. There's humans and nature. And in fact, it's turned around today where some aspects of society have focused on humans as being a parasitic entity on this planet. And we're made to feel not welcome here. In fact, the earth will be a lot better without humans. And that is not true at all. We're an integral part of the earth. We're birthed by the earth. And I believe that the problem has come in us trying to separate ourselves from nature. And the return journey to become more human again is to reconnect with nature, to realize there's not nature in us. We are nature. And it's to drop those particularly the left brain perceptions about everything's got to be orderly, in a line, and predictable. When you go into a forest, you don't see any of that. You see that it appears to the mind the randomness, and yet it's not random. There is incredible order in a forest. The word, for the cosmos means actually order, but not in the order the way that AI would understand, or the way that the logical mind will understand. Not at all, but there's a higher intelligence in that. And to be fully human now, I believe, is to step more into alignment with that higher intelligence that transcends logic.
Yeah, and if you look at creativity, for example, sort of true creativity comes from inspiration. Inspiration is in spirit. It's where you open to spirit moving through you to create something. So you're part of the creative process, but you're in communion with something much bigger. And any artist will say that. Anybody that has been inspired at all, and all of us have been inspired in some way in our lives. In that moment you're inspired. You are a channel for divine energy, for sacred energy, for higher intelligence, whatever you want to call it. You are opening as a channel for that. AI cannot do that. So I believe this is a time where we're actually putting on our training wheels for AI and saying, okay, we're in this now. It's a train. It's a runaway train. So how do we actually build our stability, our base as human beings, so that we actually come flying through this with beautiful creativity, and as John said, joy. So ask ourselves the questions: what actually gives? When am I joyful? What is it that I do in my life where that feeling, that bubbling up feeling of joy comes? And do more of that.
Yeah.
How do I channel my creativity? How do I connect with this in-spirit part of me, this inspiration? Those are all things that we're going to be looking at in the course. But for those of you who are not going to do the course, ask yourself those questions. Who are you as a unique being? How do you uniquely carry out your creativity? What's your unique gift? And it can be talking to somebody, looking after somebody. There can be many different dimensions of the way that we can actually express our divine energy and our human energy.
Yeah. And an important part of this journey is to know who and what we really are. That's really important. Not in terms of what other people have told you, not in terms of what your parents have told you, or the government has told you, but who are you really? It's a vital question, and we deal with that with week 1 on the course, don't we? That's week 1.
Yeah, and it's beyond who we think we are.
Yeah.
It's beyond the roles.
It's not the thinking.
And it's beyond the roles, because very often when you say, who are you? You say, well, I'm Michelle and I'm a this. I live here, I'm with this person, and I'm a this. I'm an accountant or a lawyer or a doctor or a creative. And it's beyond that. Who we really are is beyond all the roles.
We started out this evening by a meditation where we looked at the things of the room, and then we started to transcend the thingness into the space that held the things. And so in the past we may have looked at ourselves as a thingness that needed to acquire stuff, information or physical possessions, to make itself more. And this, with AI coming in and dominating maybe the world of things, let's talk about the Internet of Things, it's a great push for humanity to awaken to the realization that we are not things. We are something infinitely greater than any thingness could ever be. And the journey to freedom is one that will open that awareness within your consciousness of that. And that's really important for this year of 2025. And the first week that we start on Thursday is that Vision 2025 week, where we create a new vision, because it's with our vision that we truly interact with the world of form and create something brand new, something that's never existed before. It's going to be an exciting journey. Absolutely. This year is going to be, yeah, what was that Chinese curse? May you live in interesting times. It's going to be very, very interesting and very confusing for the mind, because the mind loves predictability. And it's just not going to work this year. Not going to work that way. We have to tap into a high level of intelligence, and you can call that intelligence life or nature or God or whatever, but it's a transcendent level of consciousness that we need to step into now. So shall we wrap up?
Yeah. And when we are in a vibration of, let's just say, joy or peace, or we're laughing, we're loving, that is where our power is, because that is connecting us with the field of that, and it's bringing more in, and we're changing the field. So that's our role as human beings. We're not just here taking up space. So every time we are inspired, we are inspirational. And so it's up to each of us to find that inspiration and live from that place, as opposed to just this outcome-driven place, which John was talking about. It more be in the process of life. If you're in the process of cooking a meal, be really involved in that process, as it's the last thing you might do, as if it was the last thing you might do. And then you're actually really living as a human being.
Yeah. Because just ask yourself this question right now. Would you like to live an inspired life? Would you like to live an inspired life? And most people will say yes, yes. They would like to live an inspired life. Now tell me what I must do. And to live an inspired life is not about doing. It's about being. Inspiration, to be in spirit. And spirit is something that is transcendent of time. And most people only know themselves in terms of time. Time and mind are one and the same thing. Spirit is timeless. You are timeless. And that's a different awareness that's required to step out of the 4D reality, the 4 dimensions of space and time, into the 5th dimension, which is the timeless essence of presence. Very, very different, but very necessary if we want to keep our sanity as we go through this transformation process. Very, very different.
Yes, it's an interesting year ahead, and we look forward to maybe seeing some of you on the journey with us, or on the Vision Week. You can join by going to journeysofAwakening.com.
Yeah, many journeys.
This is the 16th one that we're running.
And every one is unique because we add extra material to it, and we change things around, and we learn from previous the courses that we've run. So it's always brand new. It's always brand new.
We've always got a beautiful community, and that was meant to be who we have. So.
And you were talking earlier about connection, and that's one of the greatest joys of doing this over 3 months, is that people really, really connect with each other, and they learn so much from each other. And even when the course is finished, that connection remains, that community, that support. By the way, that's one of the ways that we're going to remain sane through all of this. We talked earlier about the Anastasia books. They're called Ringing Cedars. And those books are all about community. It's about stepping out of the mad rat race and getting into community, which is what we've done. We've set up a community on a farm in what's called the Garden Route in South Africa, and to live more sustainably, more connected to nature and to life and to each other. So that's what we're participating in. We're living our truth here. And it's a beautiful place. I mean, we have an absolutely beautiful farm here.
Yeah, and I think it's not, if you can't live in a community on a farm, it's fine. You have a community wherever you live. Start to actually really get to know your community in your area. Because we have a little tiny community here, but there's a broader community. And it's really beautiful to actually know that we know that person and that person. You get eggs from them and tomatoes from them, and ask them that. And you can be doing that anywhere. You can be doing that in the middle of the city. But the way we stay human is to make those human connections.
Yeah, it is about
and
that.
To strengthen them even more. I really believe it's really important.
Yeah, And thank you,
for
Shelley.
your comment, Shelley.
Yeah, Shelley's been with us on the Journey to Freedom, Journeys of Awakening as our company, and Journey to Freedom is the course. So thank you.
Liberating experience, being able to be with all of self, letting go, and thereafter the freedom is so beautiful, walking lighter, coming from a deeper place of love. Thanks, Shell. Yeah, that's a beautiful comment. Thank you.
Right,
Okay.
do you want to draw a card?
Oh, yeah.
Let's draw an affirmation for the week ahead.
Okay, do you want to draw one?
Okay, turn it over. Got a whole pack of these cards here, and I'm going to pick a green card, heart. It's all about heart, because to be human is to have heart. And AI might have the cleverness of the mind, but it doesn't have heart. Oh, this is nice. That's very nice. I'm going to show it to you in a moment. You're going to incorporate it in the... We're going to close off with a centering meditation. And Michelle's going to incorporate this affirmation. Affirmation is a way of rewiring our brain to get it to see the world differently, which is really important at this time. So this is a wonderful affirmation to guide us through. And just remember that February is the Valentine's month, isn't it? Yeah. So it's really a month of love. That can be our focus for this month. Love, 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 love. That is the answer.
It's also a big focus on creativity this month. So if you are creatively inclined, then get to it. Be more creative. Okay. Let's just settle in. This won't be a long meditation. It's just to recenter ourselves. Let's just take a deep breath in. And then a long, slow out breath. And as you breathe out, start to relax your shoulders and soften your body a little bit more on each out breath. So breathing in, and blow the air out through your mouth as if you're blowing through a straw, and let all the air go. And then pause a little bit, and then you breathe in again, breathing all the way in, all the way up to the top of your lungs, top, 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 top. Hold the breath for a moment, and then let the breath out. Just allow yourself to come into a place of rest. It's like the exhale. It's a moment of peace. It's a moment away from the mind. Take a break from our busyness. And just connect with the breath as it comes in and out, without trying to make it do anything. You're just noticing. Just becoming the awareness that becomes aware of being breathed without any effort. As you breathe, become aware of the smells that you can smell. The sounds that you can hear in the room. And then extend your hearing out even further to the exterior. Connect with what you can see behind your eyes. And what you can feel in your body. Feel as your body connects with the surface that it's sitting or lying on. Feel the temperature on your skin, on your face. Feel your hands. And focus on just your hands for a moment. Hold them a little distance away from each other. And just feel the energy that's pulsing through your hands as you focus on them. You might find a subtle tingling or warmth. Just just know that this is your life force that is flowing through you always. Being in this state of beingness, you're open to this life force. You're allowing it to flow through you freely. And the more we can bring ourselves back into this place of beingness, presence, so the mind starts to become secondary. Our card for the evening is I now love without attachment. So just breathing those words in. I now love without attachment. Which is true liberation. No attachment or expectation. Just being in love with life is freedom. And just giving thanks for this evening, for this beautiful group that has gathered. And laying the foundation for this week to come. That we may return to this place of peace over and over again. To this place of love. And just feeling the gratitude that you have for this moment of human beingness that we each have the privilege of experiencing. This moment of human connection. Now taking a deep breath in and out. And when you're ready, you can gently start to open your eyes.
That was lovely. What a lovely way to end the evening, don't you think?
Thanks,
And that card, I now love without attachment, is a powerful, powerful, powerful affirmation. And interestingly, on the Journey to Freedom course, we spent a whole week on love and another whole week on relationships. And this is quite a key to higher relationships, is this card. Okay, lots of love. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for sharing your energy. I absolutely guarantee you that the energy from the satsang has gone out into the world, and there's a spark of life, of light, that has been amplified through all of your presences tonight. Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to catching up with you, or those of you who are joining the course on Thursday night, otherwise in 2 weeks' time for our next satsang. Thank you.
Thanks,
and so we've got Inner Space on Tuesdays.
Yes.
We have an online community called Inner Space, which is open to everyone, and a few of you are on that, so we will see you there. Okay,
we're discussing perception.
Perceptions, that's a big one, hey?
There's still time to join if you want to join for the month.
Perceptions, all available on our Journey to Freedom, Journeys of Awakening.com website, journeysofawakening.com. Thank you all.
Everyone.
Love you all. Glad tonight. Blessings. Much love.
Thank you.